Guess what? It's time to start arithmetic. Are you talking? Are you talking? Listen. Let's go ahead and begin with a little bit of review, and then we'll go on. Really, all of it's review, but then we'll go over our page and some things you'll need to pay attention to for today's lesson. Do you remember these? 1 square foot equals how many square inches? Inches in a foot? So square would be, who said 144 square inches, because there's 12 inches in a foot, so 144 square inches. Memorize that. 1 square yard equals, did you say 9 square feet? 9 square feet. Those are the newest terms, the newest facts I want you to have memorized, and you'll need to know that on your paper today. Look here as we review our, make sure I've got several posters here. Make sure that you know these. Ready? This is our point, line, segment, line. What's this? Ray, intersecting lines, and parallel lines. They both running the same way. Then we have angle, right angle, congruent angles, perpendicular line, a simple closed curve, and just a polygon. A polygon is any shape made up of line segments. And so there's a segment here, there, and there. And they all make, this could be any shape. Any of the shapes that we've learned are all polygons, but they're particular kinds of polygons. So then we go to these. These are particular kinds of polygons, with the exception of the circle. It is a shape, but it's just, it doesn't have line segments, does it? It doesn't have sides. So this is the circle, of course, and it is a closed curve with no point of intersection. What is this? Parallelogram. Let's bring this up a little bit closer. See it better. Parallelogram. This is, of course, the square, rectangle, rhombus, triangle, and trapezoid. Again, the ones that we tend to confuse, if there is any to confuse, would be the parallelogram, rhombus, and trapezoid. Can you say parallelogram? Parallelogram. Parallel, notice L-L-E-L, parallelogram, rhombus. Think of it this way. Here's a rectangle, right? A parallelogram is like a slanted rectangle. A rhombus is like a slanted square, like a diamond shape. So that's the difference. So don't confuse them. These are all the same length. Whereas a parallelogram, they are not. It's like a rectangle. So that's the difference. Well, what about a trapezoid? Look at this trapezoid. This has a right angle. See that? But this over here is not a right angle. See? That's not, okay? There's a right angle on this side, right? And a parallelogram does not have a right angle. So some were confusing the trapezoid with the parallelogram, but a trapezoid has one right angle, but none of these other sides are the same length. This side is different from that side, and that side is different from that side. So very different. The trapezoid is really an oddball, isn't he? So learn the difference between rhombus, parallelogram, and trapezoid. And do a good job with that, as some did miss that on their quiz. So we want to make sure we know that. Now let's go on to your page. On your paper today, you're going to have some things such as this: area and perimeter. Now, Can you see that all right? In section 1, you're going to do area. Now, it might be area of a square or area of a rectangle, so you have to look carefully and don't use the wrong formula. Let's go over the formula for the rectangle. A equals length times width, right? Area equals length times width. So if your length was 8 feet and your width is 4 feet, look, we plug in 8 for length, 4 for width. 8 times 4 equals 32. And the answer is given in square units. Now, this says inches here because they had theirs in inches, and I put feet up here on the board. So whatever unit it gives you in your problem, you put that unit there, but make sure your answer, when it is for area, is square, not perimeter, but area, square inches or square feet. What about if it was not a rectangle, but it was for a square? So on your paper today, it's going to say rectangle or square. For a square, you only need to know one side because all the sides are the same. So our formula is A equals side times side, right? And then, if I bring it a little closer, A equals, if your side was 5 feet, it'd simply be 5 times 5. And then you'd write A equals 25 square feet. See the equal signs, how they come down? And the A or the P, if it's perimeter, it would be a P, but in this case an A for area. And use the formula to solve section 1 on your paper. If it's a rectangle, use this formula. If it's a square, use this formula. And do a super job with section 1. Well, what about section 2? Section 2 is the same except you're using perimeter. So you'll use your perimeter formula. What is the perimeter of a rectangle formula? P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And you would plug in your numbers. What about for a square? P equals 4 times, I put 2 there. I should have put side, right? P equals 2 times the side, which is why I put a 2 there, unless one of the sides was that. All right, so there are your formulas. So let's say it was 8 and 4 like it was. You'd simply, for length, you'd put in an 8 there, right? So you'd put 2 times 8, right? And so on and so forth. Whatever the numbers are, if you know the formula, just plug in the numbers that you give you. The length is 8, then put where L is, put an 8. Where a W is, put a 4 if that was the number that they gave you for your rectangle. Now this is for a rectangle. Square, the formula is P equals 4 times S. What is the side? And there'll just be one. Our other problem we did over here was a 5 when we did our formula with the chart that I showed you earlier. So you could put 4 times 5, and it would be 20 feet, or 20 inches, right? Now again, remember, for area, it's square inches, or square feet, or square yards. But perimeter, no, you don't need to put square. Because remember, perimeter is just the distance around, right? Going all the way around. It's not square, it's not. Area is all the inside. And so there's little squares, every square inch that's inside. So do a super job with that for section 1 and then for section 2. Look at this problem I've written on the board. You have a measurement problem, and this is the measurement problem on your page. Remember how to do these? There's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 different units that you see there. And well, there's actually 3 different ones, but there's 4 different places there where you need to write something, right? So always look, what does it ask you for at the end? It asks us for inches. So everything needs to be inches. So rewrite it. Inches. All right, put your equal sign there. And then everything will be in inches, and then put blanks. Put your minus sign, inches, blank, plus sign, blank, and everything's in inches. Make everything inches. Whatever it asks you for, make everything inches. Then, okay, that's the same, so I can just bring that one down. Is that the same? No. I'm going to put a box around that one. I need to solve that one. Is that the same? No. I need to put a box around that one too, because that one's not the same. Okay? And we'll be adding those and subtracting that. So then step 1, 2, 3. Step 1, 2, 3. How many inches in a foot? 12. How? All right, but actually, I got ahead of myself, didn't I? First, are we going from larger to smaller or smaller to larger? We're going from feet to inches, larger to smaller, multiply. Okay, good way to know that. And there's how many inches in a foot? 12. Solve. Put the number in, solve. Then go to the next one. You'll put the number right there. You do the same thing here. Yards to inches, larger to smaller. What? That X means multiply, doesn't it? Multiply. How many inches in a yard? How many inches in a yard? I had a yardstick here earlier. Where'd my yardstick go? Doesn't matter. How many inches in a yard? 36. So our special number is 36. So we're going to multiply by 36, whatever the other number is there. Solve it, put it in the blank. So we'll put whatever this number is plus whatever this number is minus whatever our 36 equals, and put your answer in the blank. Again, this was kind of a heavy duty one. It's not really, it just had one more to do than you normally do. So, and you've had a few like that, but do that. Story problem. Story problem. Let me read to you one of the story problems, and then you can do the other one on your own. Angie traveled 11 times to and from Jenny's house one week. We're on section 8. Jenny lives 3/8 of a mile away. How far did Angie travel in all? Now here's the part that might throw you on the story problem. She traveled 11 times to and from Jenny's house in 1 week. She lives 3/8 of a mile away. Now remember, that means it's 3/8 of a mile to her house and 3/8 of a mile back home again. So how many trips did she make? How many 3/8 of a mile did she have? Remember, 11 times to and from, which would mean how many trips? Well, she went 11 times there, but she also went 11 times back. So she actually went 22 times. So you need to keep that in mind or you won't get the right answer. All right, well, how far did she travel in all? Well, each time she traveled there, it was 3/8 of a mile. Three-eighths of a mile. And she did that 22 times. What do you think you're going to do? Yes, we're going to multiply. You got it. And we always put a 1 under our whole number when we multiply. Can we cancel here with our 8 and our 22? If it's an even number, it can always be divided by 2, right? 2 goes into 8 4 times, cross it out, put a 4. 2 goes into 22 11 times, and we can cancel and then multiply, and we can get how many times in all. Remember, when we multiply, if we have an improper fraction at the end, change it to a whole or mixed number. Divide the denominator into the numerator and get the answer. And then in the answer, what does it ask us? How far did Angie travel in all? So in your answer, whatever your number is here at the end, you need to put what? It's given to us in miles. So you need to put this many miles. Miles what? Alice, what did you write? Miles. How many in all? You see the question mark at the end? Whatever it says, you need to put that, not just a number, but this many miles in all, and you'll get the right answer. Do you remember what the normal body temperature is? Fahrenheit and Celsius? Do you remember what the boiling point of water is? Fahrenheit, Celsius? Do you remember what the freezing point of water is? Fahrenheit, Celsius? You should have those memorized by now, and we're going to see, parents, you're going to see if they know those and have those memorized. If they don't, you need to memorize it. So class, memorize it if you don't have it memorized. If you do, super job. You take care. You do a fantastic job on your paper, and there's just a little bit more to do. And I'm going to move this. I just want to say farewell for today. You take care, and I will see you in the upcoming videos. Before I go, I just want to remind you, be looking for some special videos. They won't be long, that I'm going to do at the very end as a way of saying goodbye for the year and giving you some information about some upcoming things at the end of the year, such as, you know, what about awards? What about this? What should we all get together and do something fun? Things like that I want to tell you about. I know we won't be able to maybe get together like we normally would, but still have something special for you to see. So be looking for special videos about that with some announcements, as well as looking on Schoology for some things I will say there as well. So always be looking there every day. You take care, and you be looking for the next video.